All right. Well, that was interesting. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 54. This is Dwight Woods, and today's broadcast, this is the one about a vision for Jeet Kune. So, hello, Ms. Monroe. Hello, Gabriel. Hello, Robert. Hello, Deron Franklin. I think that's a new name for the show. Anthony Kleeman. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys know the deal. As you're logging in, be kind enough to say where you're logging in from. Hit the like button, and then if during the course of the broadcast I say anything that's interesting or insightful, feel free to continue hitting the like button. So let's get right into it. If you follow me at all on the Jeet Kune dialogues, then you already know the origin story for today's broadcast title, because it comes from my last two dialogue episodes with none other than Chris Kent, the Jeet Kune legend. So in one of the dialogues, Chris told me about having seen Bruce Lee's notes on studio design, like in a martial arts studio design, and stuff about, you know, how to light the place and what have you, right? So I imagine that was from the time when Bruce Lee was seriously contemplating opening up a chain of Kung Fu schools, right? Although we know that in 1972, because it's here in the Art and Philosophy book, page 11, if you want to, no, 111, I think, I forget. But he proclaims, I have disbanded all the organized schools of Jeet Kune because it is very easy for the students to mistake the agenda as the truth and to take the program as the way, right? Now this might have been, since this was 72, this might have been because at that time he had more confidence in his ability to sustain himself and his family through movies, right? And so he saw no further need to open up a chain of schools in order to make a living that way. And that worked fantastically for Bruce Lee. But what about those of us left behind, let's say, right, who upon receiving instruction and then qualification as instructors of this great art, what if we have a desire to pass it on, right? And I say that because I know, and a lot of you guys who will hear this, you know that in the old days, perhaps because of the backyard Jeet Kune thing, there was a certain frowning upon the idea of commercializing Jeet Kune. That was a huge no-no, as they say, right? But things change and times change, and so if you study the history of it, you know that demand for Jeet Kune kind of organically created itself. Nobody really went out there to try to create demand for Jeet Kune. It's just the thing that happened with Bruce Lee's passing and what have you. So then people found themselves in a position to share their knowledge and expertise with an ever-growing crowd of Jeet Kune enthusiasts, right? And so as time went by, these original enthusiasts kind of evolved off into different groups, so to speak, right? And those different groups still kind of exist today. And here's what I mean. We have an active group of people that I guess you could call them Bruce Lee fans. And they're not necessarily people who are deeply engaged in the study or the practice or the process of Jeet Kune, but they enjoy kind of like the hero worship aspect of Bruce Lee's celebrity, right? So some people disparagingly refer to them as fanboys, right? There's a group that also, believes it's somewhat sacrilegious to take a professional approach to Jeet Kune instruction, right? So they call it commercializing Jeet Kune. I prefer to call it professionalizing Jeet Kune, because if think about it, a person spends an incredible amount of money to study law, to study medicine, to study engineering, and then there's nobody who doesn't expect them to go out and try to make a living with that knowledge and expertise. So a lot of us have spent a lot of money in gaining knowledge and expertise in Jeet Kune. So where is it written that there's something wrong with then turning around and trying to make a living with that knowledge and expertise that one has acquired in Jeet Kune? Nobody would frown on that if somebody gets a black belt in Japanese or Okinawan karate, right? If somebody gets a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, think about it. Probably in August of '93 with UFC 1, there were very few Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools, but I guarantee you by August of 1994, there were more than enough, right? So nobody frowns on it if it's done in other martial art methods, but somehow in the JKD world, if somebody is making a living, if somebody's making money, right, on Jeet Kune, then that is frowned upon. And I think that the people who have that opinion, they're well intentioned, but what they might not realize is that kind of closed door approach to Jeet Kune can actually contribute to the diminishing of the popularity of the art, and not so much just the popularity, but it can contribute also to the diminishing of the accurate knowledge being widespread and accurate information about the art also being widespread, right? Then we have the people who do teach Jeet Kune, but they teach it kind of like a sideline gig, you know, like they have a full-time job somewhere else, and then the teaching is informal. And then there are the people who run the full-time schools with Jeet Kune as, actually, this is something that I'd like you guys to chime in on as you watch this. Do you know of any full-time professional martial arts schools that have Jeet Kune as the curriculum? I'm not talking about places where you've got the Wing Chun and the Muay Thai and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the Pencak Silat and the this and the that and the Jeet Kune. I'm talking about a school where Jeet Kune is the curriculum. Not anything else, just Jeet Kune. I'd be very interested in what you guys know, what you guys out there know about whether or not that is an actual thing, right? So we were talking about people and the being able to make a living off your knowledge and your expertise, right? If you look at the pictures that I used in the ad for today's broadcast, right, you'll see I'm trying to tell a story and to make a point also, right? First, there are the screenshots from a Bruce Lee documentary, which Chris confirmed are Bruce Lee's original books, maybe not his original bookshelves, but definitely his original books, which were located at the Bruce Lee Library in Boise, Idaho, right? So I particularly chose the shots which show titles like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which is I call it the entrepreneurial mindset classic. Then there's The Power of Creative Selling, which, you know, intrigues me. Why would Bruce Lee have such a book on his shelves? The Power of Creative Selling, right? Then there's the I Ching, and then there's also I think it's Suzuki's book on Zen. And to me, these show that that Bruce Lee's philosophy was not at all hampered by the idea that there was something wrong with doing well financially. I mean, even J. Paul Getty's book, How to Be Rich, is on the shelves also, right? Then in the ad, I used photographs of Bruce Lee's personal stationery, right? You know, like his letterhead and his envelopes, and then also his business card, which had his printed fee schedule right in it. So also there's a picture there. This is one that I had not seen back in the old days. This came about more recently, but it's a photograph of Bruce Lee's Junfan Gung Fu Institute membership application, which, by the way, is this shirt, right? Right. So, and what that got me to thinking, and then there's also the student card with the spaces for showing what rank that student had achieved. And I thought to myself, for somebody who wasn't interested in making a living running a school, Bruce Lee certainly seemed to have a very professional approach to doing just that, right? So my question was, who goes to all the trouble to run an operation like that? Membership cards, rank cards, personalized stationery, flip open business card with a printed fee schedule and what have you. I don't think that anybody who goes to all that trouble is interested in not being professional, right? So I have a question for you guys. So let's imagine that what happened with Korean Taekwondo through Bruce Lee's good friend Jun Rhee, or even what happened with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like we talked about after UFC 1, right? What if Bruce Lee, right, after the success of The Big Boss and the success of Fist of Fury, what if he had set up official Jeet Kune schools wherever possible, but always with legitimately certified and qualified instructors running those schools? And what if after, unfortunately, Bruce Lee had passed away, but we had that structure of legitimately certified and qualified Jeet Kune schools, authorized, so to speak, by Bruce Lee's organization. And then Bruce Lee passes away, but we have that structure in place. What do you think? Do you think that the legacy would have continued with quality control and legitimacy at the forefront of the operation, right? So that's something that I want you guys to think about and chime in on, because my question is, if all of that had happened, right? If that imagination, Bruce Lee had set up a Jeet Kune Do organization, do you think that we would have had what Chris Kent referred to as a Jeet Kune Do identity crisis? Would that have happened? Do you think that there'd be people out there who teach Jeet Kune Do without being legitimately certified? Do you think that there would be all this discussion about who's doing it right, and also Chris made a joke about it, what would Bruce do, right? Do you think that all of that would go on? Do you think that there would have been all of this Jeet Kune Do separatism, or would we have been able to move forward because there were strict guidelines as to how to move forward with the art and grow it to the level or the status of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu art, or even a Jun Rhee Taekwondo, a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, or even Chuck Norris's, before it was United Federation, they called it Chun Kuk Do or something, right? I think we would have. I think that everything that happened, the identity crisis, the Jeet Kune Do separatism, I think that all of that stuff probably would not have taken place, because something definitive had been put in place. We had a definitive structure for what to do with Jeet Kune Do. But that didn't happen. So we can spend a whole lot of time wishing upon a star, as Rolls Royce said, right? But we have to deal with reality, which is that's not what happened in JKD. So Chris said a bunch of interesting things in his two, and if you guys haven't seen these episodes, 35 and 35A of the dialogues, go to the YouTube and look for them there, and really take a listen to what Chris Kent had to say. But one thing that really resonated with me is when he said, "We are the soul of Jeet Kune Do," meaning all of those who are still alive, who are doing what we can to promote and perpetuate and promulgate in a legitimate fashion the legacy of the art and philosophy of Bruce Lee, right? And as opposed to, you know, I mean, bless their hearts, right? They enjoy Bruce Lee as much as we do, but it's really just this thing about the hero worship of Bruce Lee. A lot of us in the JKD clan, we've gone past the hero worship. Yeah, we still have that, but we've gone past, and we're doing our role in legitimately promoting it, right? So, but a lot of time has passed, and we have to accept the fact that there has been that separatism and what have you. But it doesn't mean that we cannot bend over backwards, as we say down in the islands, and work real hard to put as much legitimate and authentic information as possible out there to the public. That's what I try to do with the broadcast and with the Jeet Kune dialogues, kind of in an effort to make sure that people don't walk around. And this is something else I'd like you guys to chime in on. What are some of the craziest descriptions that you've heard from members of the public about what Jeet Kune is? One of the most recent ones that I heard is that Jeet Kune is a speedier version of Wing Chun. You dig that? Jeet Kune is a speedier version of Wing Chun, right? Or, you know, the thing that Jeet Kune is impractical because Bruce Lee had no fight record. If we group together, notice that I said I use the indefinite article, a vision for Jeet Kune, rather than the definite article, the vision for Jeet Kune. Because, like I said just now, too much time has passed. There's been too much separatism. So there's no, it's like Chris said that there is no, what did he call it? He said there's no universally accepted definition of what Jeet Kune is. Something like that. Something like that. I didn't write down his exact quote, but anyhow, I just want what I want to do is to make sure that all you guys out there who are doing the same thing that I do, which is to legitimately promote Jeet Kune, right? Go ahead and give me your ideas and your thoughts on what it is that could be done so that we have authentic and accurate information being promoted. All right, that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. So feel free, share, like, comment, ask questions if you want. I'll review everything after posting, and sign up for notifications when I go live on Facebook, and also notifications for when we post on the YouTube channels for the broadcasts and the dialogues. Quick Skills Series Volume 1 still available at ilovejeetkune.com. Coming up on Friday, November 7th, we'll be doing dialogues with Steve Grody. And if you guys have no idea who Steve Grody is, it's because he's one of those excellent JKD practitioners who kind of stays out of the limelight, right? So that's this Friday, December 7th at 3 p.m. And I'll see you back here next week, same time, for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, signing off. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.